everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and cover my top 10 cheap fragrances. Now, this is the cheap fragrances that I consider, or the inexpensive fragrances that I consider high quality and fragrances that I would wear. So don't be discouraged by the fact that they're cheap fragrances. They're still great fragrances, and I wear them from time to time, all except one on here, but it'll become clear a little bit more when I actually get to the fragrance. Now, I consider cheap $25 and under. It's an arbitrary number that I chose. There's a lot of people who are choosing other numbers, $30, $35, some actually, bring that number up to $50, $60. It's an arbitrary number, but for my purposes, these are all fragrances that you can find for under $25. Now, in the description below, you're going to see links to where you can get those fragrances for those prices. I wanted to include it down below and not within like the actual video, so I can update it if time, if it changes, if the prices change at a certain location and you can no longer find it at a certain location. The idea for me is to keep this video updated so that these fragrances that I list in there you can find for cheap and under $25. Hopefully they don't go above that. But either way, that's where you can get them. All right? So I'm going to keep that list updated down below. Just keep that in mind. Second thing, even though this is a top 10 list, these top 10 are not in order. In other words, I'm just throwing them all out there. These are 10 great fragrances that you can get for under $25. And, that's that. They're no greater or less than. I don't want to get into that whole thing. Oh, well, this fragrance is better than this fragrance, or none of that. They're all there. They're all great fragrances, and I highly suggest them if you're looking for something cheap. So another reason I wanted to actually do this video just before we get into it is because I've gotten this request a lot over the years. We all don't have the same price point, so I thought that it was important for me to go ahead and do this video. All right, so let's start with the first fragrance. The first fragrance is no slouch, and I've mentioned it in a couple of my lists before. That fragrance is known as Nautica Voyage. Now, Nautica Voyage, it's a great, I guess you could say, generically sea salty, clean smell. It's a fantastic smell that does perfectly fine for what you're, I'm sorry, not perfectly fine, but perfectly great for what you're getting. This is a fragrance that I actually mix into my top fragrances, especially for the summer and the spring. So it's a great warm weather fragrance that really, I still am surprised that it's priced so low. You can find it for so low. This is a fragrance you can find for around $17. So Nautica Voyage, it's one that you're also going to see on a lot of other people's lists because it really is that good of a fragrance. So if you're looking for a cheap, typical like cologne-y smelling fragrance that's done really well, look for Nautica Voyage. Now the next scent on my list is a fragrance that comes from the house of Perry Ellis, and it's one of the first fragrances that I had in my collection that when I came across a similar smelling scent, I was like, oh, I think my fragrance smells better, despite the fact that my fragrance is probably the clone. And that is Perry Ellis 360 Red. Now, Perry Ellis Red, it's, again, the fragrance I had it initially, and the fragrance that it smells like is Acqua di Gio. Arguably the #1 smelling fragrance in the world. I forgot what rank it was, but it's really up there. Now, Acqua di Gio, it's got a very clean, citrusy type smelling scent, and Perry Ellis Red does the same exact thing. The only difference is Perry Ellis Red, to me, it's a little bit spicier and it's a little bit sharper, which to me makes it smell a little bit better. You can get Perry Ellis Red, conversely, for anywhere between like $15 and $30. Compare that to Acqua di Gio, which you still can't really get discounted heavily around, and I would heavily mention, and I constantly tell people this, if you're looking at Acqua di Gio, look at Perry Ellis Red instead, and you can probably get a better bang for your buck or your better value out of it, period. I actually think it's just a better smelling fragrance than Acqua di Gio, even though they're almost the same scent. All right, so Perry Ellis 360 Red. The next scent on my list is a fragrance that has been compared to another very popular fragrance in the community, and the fragrance that I'm talking about is called Animale Animale. Now, Animale Animale has been compared to Pure Malt from the Terry Mugler line, and they do have some similar type of a vibe to it. Animale Animale you can buy for about $24 retail, and it's got this, I guess you could say, this It's got this deep, woody, almost sweet scent with a bit of actually, sorry, the train kind of distracted me there, but it's got this deep, woody, a little bit of resinous type feel to it. It has a patchouli type vibe, very similar to the one that's in Pure Malt. Obviously they don't smell the same, but it's close enough that I would highly recommend, and I still highly do recommend you get it. Be careful though, there's another fragrance out there called Animale. It is not Animale Animale. Again, look for Animale Animale, 2 Animals in a row, not the one. The one doesn't smell anything like Animale Animale, and the one smells like crap, to be perfectly honest. So stay away from the one that just says Animale. Look for Animale Animale, all right? All right, so the next fragrance that's on the list is a fragrance that has been compared to Le Male from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier. And it's a great smelling scent, and it's extremely cheap. We're talking about Cuba Gold. Now, Cuba Gold you can get it for around $12. This is a powdery scent. It's got a lavender type scent, and it's a little bit sharp. It's a little bit sharper than the original Le Male. I'm not going to say that this smells better than the original Le Male, just because I happen to personally have grown really, really fond of the original Le Male, and I'm just soaking it up. Again, this is not the reformulated version that I'm sure most people who buy it now are smelling, but this is like the old school version that has not been reformulated. It's absolutely fantastic. But back to Cuba Gold. Cuba Gold, it's cheap, and it smells very extremely close to to Le Male, to the point where you're really splitting hairs here. So it's a great powdery lavender type scent that comes off as a little bit soapy and at the same time masculine. So look for Cuba Gold for a fragrance if you're looking for a little bit of a darker type fragrance, right? So on to the next scent. The next scent is a scent that has been compared to Creed's Silver Mountain Water. We're talking about All Rehab Silver. Now, All Rehab Silver, you can purchase for around $6 online if you go look at it. It's a pretty cheap scent. Now, Silver Mountain Water has this mountainy, airy, at the same time citrusy type feel to it. A little bit metallic, if you will, too, on it. Now, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the metallic fan, but a lot of people seem to love the actual scent for it. And for that, I would highly say, go ahead and pick this one out. Give it a try. It's $6. There's really not much to it. It's less than most fast food meals, if you want. So, give it a try, see how you like it. It's a great citrus scent, perfect for the summer, and it's actually a good citrus scent that you can wear in the winter as well, too. So check it out, versatile scent. Next scent on the list is one that's been out for a long time. I grew up on this scent. We're talking about Davidoff's Coolwater. Now, Coolwater was released a long time ago, and it's very similar to another Creed scent, which is Green Irish Tweed. It's got this fresh, kind of mossy, kind of green, grassy type of a smell to it, and it's been a rock star for a long time for a good reason. A lot of people have worn this scent, a lot of people have grown up with this scent, and there's a great reason for it. It's one of the first of its kind, this kind of, I don't want to say aromatic, but it's got this, I forgot what the term was, but anyways, it's a great scent, and you can purchase it for roughly, I think it was roughly like 15 and upwards, basically, if you look for the actual scent. So take a look. It's a great value, despite the fact that it's been out for a long time. And if, having a familiar scent to a lot of people, which you probably will, doesn't bother you, definitely check this fragrance out. The next fragrance on my list is a fragrance that was put on to me by subscribers, by other reviewers. This fragrance is known as Insurrection Pure II. Now, Insurrection Pure II, you can purchase for around $20, and the reason why it was put on to me by subscribers is because of the fact that it smells like Aventus, and that's the high consensus, and it's not a carbon copy for it. You're only going to get the original Aventus type smelling fragrance with Aventus, but it is a really good copy of it. Aventus, just to kind of let you know what you're getting this pineapple apple, smoky, woody type of a scent that is highly versatile. You can wear it any season, and it's really a rock star. Now, the original, the original Ventus, you're going to purchase for $290 plus usually, depending on what size you actually go for. But this, $20. You can't beat it, and it's great for its price value, right? Now, the next scent we have on our list is a scent that it was put onto me when I first came into the fragrance community, just because it got high marks, and it's a flanker of a fragrance that I absolutely loved and bought like 4 bottles of it growing up, and that is Michael Jordan's Legend. Now, Michael Jordan Legend you can get for around $18. It smells like New Harlem from the House of Bond #9. It's got this syrupy, pancake syrupy type mix. It's very sweet, it's very strong, and it's a flanker of the original Michael Jordan cologne. And the Michael Jordan cologne is the one that I bought 4 or 5 times. And this one, I would say it's very underrated for the price that you're going to get it. Now, it's also similar to another fragrance that's out there called Rehab Silver, but this one considerably more cheap. And comparing a couple of fragrances, I would suggest this one if you're not going to go for New Harlem. Now, New Harlem does have a little bit more quality to it, but it's not noticeable enough that I highly suggest that this one be a fragrance that people consider purchasing. All right. Now, the next fragrance on the list is a fragrance that you can buy for cheap, and I'm surprised that you can get it for so cheap, because it's a gem, basically, especially for its price. It's a no-brainer. It's about as no-brainer as Nautica Voyage can be, and that is Midnight in Paris by Van Cleef & Arpels. Now, Midnight in Paris you can buy for $23. It's extremely cheap, and I'm telling you, it's highly underpriced. You should definitely pick this fragrance up, because it's more than worth that $23. In fact, it's more than worth the amount that it retails for, which is like $60, $70. It's that good of a fragrance. This fragrance is leather, it's incense, it's got a sweetness from tonka, and it's got this powdery feel to it. It's a great fragrance all around, and for $23, this is a steal. Easily something that should be in your fragrance collection, especially if you're looking for something on the inexpensive end. Midnight in Paris by Van Cleef & Arpels. Now, the next fragrance, which is the last fragrance on our list, is a fragrance that I've had a great amount of success growing up with. I almost used the entire bottle to the point where I'm actually out, and that is Swiss Army by Victorious. Now, Swiss Army you can get for about $21. This is a fragrance that got me a lot of compliments growing up in high school, and really was part of the reason that I started collecting fragrances. It started off as a small type of hobby, because I was like, oh, I really like getting compliments with these fragrances. I really like the way that it's kind of upping my appeal, if you will. It's upping my game. It's upping my persona. And that's kind of how it's one of the fragrances that helped put me on that path to collecting fragrances. And so for that reason, it gets some fond memories. But $21, you can get lavender, woods, and some green notes that come to this. Various green notes that come to it. Absolutely fantastic fragrance, and one that is great in its own right. Be careful, don't over-apply this one, because if you over-apply it, it's going to assault your senses. Alright? So those are my top 10 cheapy fragrances, again, in no particular order. Let me know what your top cheap fragrances are. I'm always curious, and if you put it down below, other people will see it and they'll be helped out from it. And if you do put it down below, if you can, link where you got it, although I'm not sure if YouTube will block it. But either way, let me know. Alright? Thank you, take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.